most definitely was.
Okay, and we are now also live with the Know the Ledge crew. I think I see that. Yep, Know the Ledge. Yep, we are live and direct. So, um, let's see. Let's just get a show of hands of people who are already tuned in. Would you like me to do the live Forex trade first, or would you like me to speak about the SpaceX IPO and the OpenAI Anthropic IPOs? Let's have people chime in. Let me know what you want first: the live Forex trade, or do you want the conversation about SpaceX IPO? Let me know what y'all want to do. Someone says they're waiting on. Someone says they're waiting on Patreon. Brother Red Pill. Somebody saying that they're waiting on Patreon. Oh, they're waiting on. I don't know what they mean. Okay, someone said Forex last, SpaceX first. Someone says doesn't matter. Okay, looks like they want to talk about SpaceX. All right, they want to talk about SpaceX. People want SpaceX. Okay. All right. We'll do SpaceX. Someone says live Forex. Another person says SpaceX. Okay. This looks like SpaceX is winning. All right. Yeah, it looks like SpaceX is winning, y'all. So, all right. So let's get into this SpaceX IPO. So, what is SpaceX? SpaceX is more than a rocket company. What SpaceX does is it's essentially it's a FedEx service for people who want things in space. They deliver things to space, almost like how Amazon and FedEx deliver things to your door. They deliver things to space, and that's how they make most of their money. But let's talk about why SpaceX is so important. So, those of you who are familiar with my modality of thought have heard the concept of first principles thinking. This is a very important conversation because this type of thinking is going to allow you to outperform everybody else that you're in the same field with. Because most people don't use first principles thinking. So, because they don't use first principles thinking, they get distracted or they end up putting their attention in places that don't matter. So, first principles thinking is telling you this. First principles thinking is telling you that you have to identify two things. You have to identify the immutable truths of a problem set and also the limiting factors of a problem set. This is very important for people to remember. This is more important than me telling you should buy SpaceX stock because it's giving you a way to think about things. Okay? So you have what you call immutable truths. So let's just say that you're in the field of finance or economics, you're in the field of engineering, you're in the field of science, biology, health, human relationships, whatever it is. What first principles thinking asks you to do is one, what are the immutable truths? So let's look at the space industry or the rocket industry, right? So the immutable truths is the playing field that you're playing on, right? And anything outside of the playing field, you don't pay attention to. You focus on what's on the playing field. Many people end up focusing on what's out of bound of the playing field, and they end up wasting their time. So therefore, I'll give the quintessential example. Imagine you're on a playing field, a football playing field, and you have a quarterback and you have a wide receiver. There is no play that you're going to draw up that has the wide receiver catching the ball out of bounds. So out of bounds is outside of the playing field, and that's outside of the immutable truths or the immutable laws of this particular problem set. So it turns out that in the rocket industry, there are immutable truths. There's the laws of propulsion, the laws of gravity, the laws of thermodynamics, the laws of acceleration, so forth and so on. And these are all quantified with mathematical formulas. So what you're doing is you're focused on these mathematical formulas as the immutable truths of this problem set, which is taking rockets to space. There's mathematical formulas that are immutable. You focus on those. Now, the second part of first principles thinking is identifying the limiting factors. So in the rocket industry, what was the greatest limiting factor? The greatest limiting factor in the rocket industry is that, one, rockets are very expensive to make. Over, a couple $100 million to actually make a rocket that goes to space. Okay, so one, the price of a rocket is a limiting factor. So there's only very few people very few organizations, and usually it was limited to state or governmental organizations like NASA, which was responsible for taking things to space and taking satellites to space and what have you. Well, when you deal with a government business or a government entity, it doesn't have the same type of pressures to perform that a private industry has. Private industry has to make profit. It has to do it in a reasonable amount of time because it has shareholders. Governmental organization, they're using people's tax money. So the bottom line is not that big of a deal. So government waste is something that we've heard of. And it's very real because many of you listening to the show right now are working at a government job and are not being very productive because you don't have to be. There's no quota for you to meet. There's no profit line that you have to meet. So therefore, people are not as motivated to innovate or motivated to actually deliver because you get people's tax money irrespective. Whereas when you're a private business, you either sink or swim. You make sales or you don't, right? You make an income or you don't. So that's like the difference between the post office and FedEx, right? So if you want to ship something, the post office tells you priority is 2 to 3 days. But I can tell you that the post office, the US Post Office, rarely gets priority packages to destinations in the continental United States, the contiguous 48 states, in 2 to 3 days reliably. I know this because every mango season I ship mangoes. And I stopped using the post office because they told me 2 to 3 days to ship to New York or to ship to Chicago or to ship to California or to ship wherever, to Atlanta. And most of the time it would take like 5 days. And by then, if I'm getting mangoes ready to eat, remember it's in a box, so it's hot. The mangoes might go bad in 5 days, whereas they would have been good and ready to eat in 2 days if they just met what they were going to do what they were going to say. Okay. So the thing is that I use FedEx now. So I use FedEx to deliver things that are time sensitive because FedEx says that they will get a 2-day, they have a box or they have an envelope that says 2-day or express, and it gets there in 2 days reliably. So anytime I ship on a Monday, I can expect that it's going to get to anywhere in the continental United States by Wednesday. And they'll take a picture of it at people's houses and, it'll be part of it. So FedEx is a greater value for my money than the United States Postal Service. The Postal Service can drag its feet because even if they lose money, they get funding every year from the federal government. So there's a difference. So the reason why I brought that up is that NASA for years has been sending rockets to space, but they have a problem. They could only use the rocket one time. So it becomes very expensive to send rockets to space because every time you have to send a new rocket, it's a couple $100 million. You're literally just like, every time it blasts off, that's $100 million gone, right? Okay, so what happened? Elon Musk decides that he wants to get into the space industry, but he realizes that the biggest limiting factor in space travel is the fact that you could only use a rocket one time. If you can only use a rocket one time, the price of travel becomes exponential. Whereas if you can reuse rockets, the price of space travel becomes very small compared to the previous price. We liken this to the commercial airline industry. Imagine if you could only fly a plane one time, and then that plane has to be destroyed or it's discarded or what have you, like you do with rockets and space travel. Well, a flight from Miami to New York would no longer be $150 one way. It might be $15,000 because every single passenger has to now pay for the price of the plane because you can only use the plane one time. Okay. So this is very important to understand. So you're looking at the difference between a $150 plane ticket and maybe a $15,000 plane ticket just to get to New York. So what would happen to the airline industry if you could only fly a plane one time and you can't use that plane for many different routes in one day or over a course of years? Airline travel would be prohibitive and you would no longer have a commercial airline industry because how many people can afford $15,000 for a flight to New York from Miami? Not many people. So what SpaceX decided to do was, for the first decade of SpaceX, they hired all the engineers necessary to solve this limiting factor. What is the limiting factor? The non-reusability of rockets. Because what they understood through first principles thinking is that you cannot have a robust space travel industry unless you solve the problem of rockets being only able to be used one time. So they did many experiments, some rockets blew up. It kept happening, but they understood that yes, we can take things to space, but there's no point if we can only use the rocket one time. This is very important thinking. So therefore, all of the salaries for engineers was spent on solving that issue, nothing else. This is very important. So while NASA has, billions of dollars in their budget and they're spending it on whatever they're spending it on, but they're not spending it to solve the problem because they took off to the moon allegedly in the 1960s with John F. Kennedy. And they've still had the same limiting factor of being able to use a rocket one time. So between 1960 and 2026, NASA, the US government, never solved for that problem. Right? That's 66 years of science and engineering, and they never focused on solving that problem. Not because they didn't have the ability to, it's because they didn't have the thinking modality to. This is very important. A few years ago, SpaceX solved that problem where they landed the first rocket from space into a desired location in the ocean. Like they picked the location and it landed backwards. And it landed in the direct spot. And it was actually a monumental moment. It, went under a lot of people's radar, but I was there watching it. I literally sat down and watched it happen. And I knew that the world would never be the same because they solved the problem for reusable rockets. What does that mean? That means that they can take satellites to space and come back with the same rocket, space and come back with the same rocket, space and come back with the same rocket. Whereas NASA takes something to space and that rocket's gone. You have to build a whole new rocket with a whole new budget. So guess who guess who's getting the federal contracts to take things to space, satellites to space? Guess who's getting the private contracts from telecommunications companies to take things to space? Guess who's getting the contracts with universities who are studying, astronomy, astrophysics, and all of that to take things to space? SpaceX. Why? Because SpaceX can take things to space for cents on the dollar because they don't have to pay for a new rocket every time they go to space. And who absorbs that cost? The customer. So now the customer is getting the savings of this breakthrough in the technology of reusable rockets. So whereas it might cost $100,000 to take a small thing to space, now SpaceX can charge $10,000 or whatever it might be, whatever the multiple savings would be. So SpaceX becomes the only game in town because they solve for reusable rockets. China has recently worked on reusable rockets. So think about this. One company has been way ahead of nation states in terms of technology and solving problems. China's just catching up to this fact. That's why, like, a lot of people don't like Elon Musk because of his politics. I put that aside. Most people who you buy things from, whether it be at the gas station, cars, whatever, you wouldn't like their politics either. Trust me on that. Right? So we got Red Pill on again. Let me see. Okay, okay, he's off. So SpaceX is very important in terms of what the future looks like, because the future is going to be a future that deals with the space, with space travel. Those of us who understand where technology is going and understand the narrative, understand that when we invest, we're projecting into the future. SpaceX solving the reusable rocket problem, which is the greatest limiting factor in being way ahead of everyone, makes their IPO what I would call a generational stock. A generational stock is something like Amazon. It solves the problem of delivering goods to your door in a very efficient way where you don't have to go to the mall, you don't have to go to a store to get anything. You just press a button on Amazon and sometimes it'll be delivered the same day. So they solved a problem. SpaceX has solved a problem, a big problem for humanity in the sense of being able to take things to space and reuse the rockets. Some people don't understand how big that is, but those of us who understand know that this is monumental. Okay. IPO, initial public offering. I believe they're saying that the IPO for SpaceX is supposed to be tomorrow. They say it's Thursday. No, sorry. The listing date is Thursday, June 12th, 2026. What are the implications of this? Because everyone's talking about it. Implications of the IPO of SpaceX. Well, typically what happens is SpaceX is a private company. It had private investors. Who are the private investors? Private investors are people who get the inside knowledge of being able to invest into a private company. And you'd have to be what is known as a qualified investor. Qualified investors in the United States are people who earn over $250,000 a year in income and also, or have $1 million in net worth. Okay. You're considered a qualified investor at that point, and then you're able to get private stock. Why is this important? Because a private stock gives you the stock, the initial stock price at a very cheap number. And then when it goes public, it does what is called an IPO, initial public offering, where now the general public can buy into the stock. Typically the IPOs, the price goes up. So you might have somebody who got Google stock, and this happened with Jeff Bezos, by the way. So Jeff Bezos, his first $1 billion was not through Amazon. It was actually through being an early investor in Google. He knew the founders of Google. They came to him and because he was a qualified investor, and he put in money. I think he put in $250,000 into Google at the beginning of Google before it went public. And now Jeff Bezos' shares in Google is worth a few $1 billion. And I'm going to show you all the article. Jeff Bezos, Google stock. This is why this is important for people to understand IPOs, because usually when IPOs happen, the people who really benefit are the people who are the earlier investors. And this is what we're going to be doing with Herbal Results, by the way. So we have, this is an article from 2022. So it's going to even be more. So check this out, y'all. I'm always going to share this with y'all because I want to be thorough in what I'm telling you all. You can just go online and put in Jeff Bezos, Google. Okay? The story of Jeff Bezos' $250,000 investment into Google in 1998. This is before Google went public. It says here that he got Google. So Google went public in 2004. He invested in 1998. So for 6 years, he was a private investor in Google, and his investment was $250,000. That translated into 3.3 million shares of Google stock. Okay? So let's do the math. We're going to bust out the calculator again. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my window so you all can actually see the window. This is a very important exercise. A lot of people talk about these things, but they're not going to really like show you step by step what goes on. So here's what goes on. Let me share. I'm going to share my window, entire screen. That's what I'm going to do. All right. So now you all are going to see the calculator. So what they told us is they said Jeff Bezos ended up with 3.3 million shares for $250. So now we're going to do the price per share. $250,000, 3.3. So his price per share, $250,000. Put the price on top and the amount of shares. And it's going to give us price per share. So it's going to give you, they say he had 3.3 million shares. Yep, 3.3 million shares. 3,300,000 shares. There we go. Equals, he paid 7 cents a share. Okay? Then we can just round it up to 8 cents a share. Okay. Let's find out the price of Google right now. I can go to the Forex chart and I can put in Google and tell you all the price of Google right now. So let's go to stocks and Google. Google is now $384 per share. Okay? And he got it at 7 cents a share. I don't even know if there's been a stock split, but we'll just go with 300. So 7 cents. How many multiples did he make on his money? We're going to figure that out right now. Google is right now $384.66. We're going to divide that by 7 cents. And we'll now know the multiple that he made on that investment. 387 divided by 0.0, let's call it 0.08. Well, actually, I could just do 0.075 and give the real number, 0.075. Okay? He made 5,000 times his money. What does that mean? So 5,160 times $250,000 is how much his stock is worth today from getting in Google early. It is worth $1.2 billion, $1.3 billion off of a $250,000 investment, y'all. Okay? This is what it looks like for people who get in early This is why the rich stay rich, is because they get this information and they get these opportunities before the average person gets it. Why does the average person not get this information? Because startup companies are risky and they don't want people who are, grandmother who's got a life savings who doesn't understand investment to dump all her money into something that's risky. So they want only people who can afford to lose the money, which is what they call a qualified investor, to have the opportunity to invest in private companies. Unless it's like, it's a family member, you can be a private investor. Or if you get wind of it, somehow you become a private investor. But, you have the Gary V's of the world who invested in Uber privately and, Airbnb privately, and they made a windfall. So what's about to happen with SpaceX? SpaceX is about to go public, and the people who invested in SpaceX privately, there was an opportunity for me to invest in SpaceX some years ago, and I put my money elsewhere. I was just going to wait a little bit, and I can still get in on the IPO, but what is my plan? So I did not get into SpaceX privately, even though I had an opportunity to. I put my money elsewhere. I think I was doing some projects on the continent. So I used my money that way, and I didn't put it into like a lump sum into SpaceX, even though I had the opportunity. Should I have done it? There's a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but there's still an opportunity to get into like great exponential growth. So what happens with an IPO is this. If you are a private shareholder, stockholder, and then the company that you're a private shareholder in, it goes public, you cannot cash out until 6 months after it goes public. It's called a lockout period. And the reason why there's a lockout period is that they don't want people who are private investors to start dumping the stock right away. It could crash the stocks. So what they do is that there's a 6-month cooling out period. And this cooling out period allows the stock to settle. And what happens is that usually by that 6 months, you monitor it. The people who made a windfall, there will be some selling pressure. So what the smart people do is they don't purchase the stock on the day the IPO goes public. They wait till 6 months after. Why is that? Because if HERU had 1 million shares in SpaceX went public, and SpaceX went to $100 at the IPO. At the moment it goes to the IPO and it goes to $100 and I own 1 million shares, I now have a wealth of $100 million based on just the IPO of SpaceX. Okay. Now, so what happens is I can't cash that out because I'm locked out from cashing out for 6 months. So what do? Time is ticking. If the IPO is June 1st, actually, I think the date is June 12th. So let me give you all accurate. I was just giving you a hypothetical date, but the date is June 12th. Yes. So I have to hold on to stock till December 12th. I can't cash it out. I can't do anything. So what happens is 6 months later, those people who are the private investors who are sitting on a huge nest egg want to cash out something. They want to get something. So what happens a lot of times, and some people don't cash out, they just hold on for the long term. These are long-term holders. But some people say, let me get my beak wet a little bit in the sense of, let me take some capital out and do some other things with it because I've made $100 million. So what happens is, what you'll notice is 6 months to the date of the IPO, you start seeing the stock price go down because a lot of people are selling. Those are the early investors who bought private stock and they're cashing out. So what happens is the price goes down in that 6 months, and that's when people like me swoop in and buy stock because we buy low and we sell high. So we're waiting for the price to go down lower. And you'll see within a 6 months to 7 month time period, the price usually goes down because of all these people doing sells. And then at that point, I get it at a lower price and hold on to it, for a decade. What you want to do with SpaceX stock is this. It's a generational stock. And why is it going to be important? Is it just about taking things to space as a delivery, like a delivery company? It's actually going to be more than that. So here's what we know. Now, I want you all to listen very carefully. A lot of people aren't going to be talking about this. But if you see, I follow Elon Musk on Twitter. I'm not one of those people who really care about people's politics. I know they don't like us, but I'm going to use whatever information I can get to benefit myself. X is one of the best places that you can be to follow movers and shakers because they share all the information with you. It's not like Facebook. It's not like Instagram. Those are not like, people are not moving and shaking. These people who are influencers mainly. And Facebook is just like friends from years ago and this and that. It's not necessarily people who've accomplished anything in life. So it's a lot of opinions of people who necessarily haven't done things, but you can go to SpaceX and you can follow world leaders. You can follow leaders in astrophysics, leaders in the physics community, mathematics community, investing community, like real people sharing their thoughts. And so what happens is that I use X as a surveillance medium. I'm not into like posting my thoughts on X and this and that, blah, blah, blah. I don't do that. I use X to eavesdrop. That's what I do. And I curate my X so that I'm able to see the movers and shakers in science, health, cancer reversal, this and that. So I get all this news, financial news. I get it before everyone else gets it. I know what's happening with Tesla before it's reported in the Wall Street Journal. Usually I'll know days before, sometimes weeks before. Like mainstream news, if you get your news from, it's too late. It's too late. Like what's really happening on the ground, you find it on X. Even like if there's an earthquake somewhere or there's a hurricane somewhere, go to X and find the people in that location, and they're going to tell you what's happening because they're going to give you videotape. You don't need the news anymore. You don't need like mainstream news. It's a waste of time. Okay. So I follow Elon Musk and I follow Tesla and I follow SpaceX. I literally get updates from them. So this is the big deal about SpaceX. And I want you all to be to be listening very, very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. And this has to do with the work the Red Pill is doing around AI. We know that there's a crash collision with AI in the economy that's happening right now. It's because AI is able to do work faster and cheaper than human beings. And every business owner wants work done expeditiously for the cheapest price possible. That means that AI definitely is going to take over in terms of commercial activities. AI robots and AI agents and AI whatever. We've talked about it extensively. And if you don't get involved and understand this, you're just going to be swept away with the flood. That's just what it is. It is what it is. Okay. What does AI need? There are different parts of AI. But what won't change with AI is you need compute. So these are the chips. You're also going to need data centers. This is where all of everything is stored. Okay? And you're going to need energy. This is energy and AI infrastructure, which is data centers. On a microcosmic level, it's the chips. Right now, NVIDIA has the lead with the chips. That's why NVIDIA is blowing up as a company. It's the most profitable company in the world in terms of stock capitalization. Anything associated with AI is a new burgeoning business, just like anything that had been associated with the internet in the 1990s, anything that's associated with automobiles and telecommunications and telephone in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Those leaders were the ones who were going to get the outsized returns for their investors. So you find out in the age that you're born in, what is the new technology and what technology is going to move humanity towards a different reality. Right now it's AI. In the 1990s, it was the internet. You know, before that, it was TV, radio, all of that. So you want to be an investor in the explosive technology of the day and the leaders of that technology today. So if we know this about AI, we know that the profit is going to come from investing in AI infrastructure. Well, that's data centers, that's energy for these data centers, that's the microchips and all of that, okay? And then you have the companies themselves that are coming up with the learning models, right? That's the Anthropics, that's the Open AIs, that's the Grok, that's the, you know, the Geminis, all of that. Okay. So that's what you have, right? And then you have the end user. All right. This is going to be very important. This is very, very important. Elon Musk figured this out. He figured out that in terms of energy, terrestrially, in terms of on Earth, you have coal, you have gasoline, you have natural gas, you have nuclear, you have solar, you have wind. Okay. Then you have geothermal, and then you also would have also like dams, right? So you would have that type of power, right? Hydroelectric power. So these are different options for power. Well, what the limitation of solar is that you can't get solar energy at night, so you would need batteries, right? To run it at night, these data centers. Nuclear has its issues. It's cheap, but it has disposal issues. It has other types of issues as well. And so you look at all of this, and what Elon Musk figured out is that, hey, these data centers are going to be very expensive in terms of the use of energy. What if we put the data centers in space and ran them with solar panels where there's no atmospheric changing of night and day, where the sun shines on these solar panels 24/7 and you don't need batteries? You just have to put up solar panels. You can run data centers. Yes, solar panels are in space. That's how these satellites, someone asked, can you put solar panels in space? The answer is yes. You'll see pictures of satellites. All the satellites are run by solar panels. You'll see solar panels on these satellites. I can show you pictures. Satellite. You'll see solar panels. So Elon Musk, in first principles thinking, said to himself, what is what we would call the greatest limitation, the limiting factor in AI? Well, it's going to be compute, space, and energy. That's what it's going to be. Okay? So he said, well, why don't we solve for that? So I'll show you all. Like these are what these satellites look like, by the way. So knowing this, so let me show you all this. So that's what these satellites look like. Knowing a little bit can get you pretty far. See that, y'all? That's a satellite. You see the solar panels? Solar panels are powering the satellite, and you don't need batteries because you don't have that night and day problem, right? You just get direct exposure to the sun. Everyone see that? So what they decided, what Elon Musk said, wait, energy is going to be a problem. We can get free energy outer space without any darkness. We can get 24/7 sunlight. We could run data centers in space and put them in space. So guess what they're going to be doing now? They're going to be doing, you've heard the term software as a service, basically renting out software to people. And people have made billions of dollars doing that. They're going to be doing data centers as a service. So what they're going to do is they're going to put data centers in space, and Anthropic, Open AI, all of them are going to rent out the data centers in space from SpaceX. That's going to be a subscription model, which is the holy grail of business. Anytime you get a subscription model in business, you've just gotten a holy grail, because a subscription allows you as the business owner to be able to know how much money that you're going to make per month or per year, because you've got subscribers and they pay every single month. This is actually not just like someone who buys from you every now and then and you don't know when they're going to buy, but when someone's on a subscription plan and you've got 1,000 people, like with Netflix, you've got millions of people paying you $30 a month, then you know that you're going to make $30 million a month if you've got 1 million users. This predictability of income and cash flow is very important for a business owner. Sometimes you have a bad month, you have a bad week, and you can't predict what's happening. But once you have a subscription model, you know what it is. You know what you can expect to have at the end of the month or the end of 2-3 months, right? And your only job is to get more subscriptions. So what's going to happen is that because SpaceX has reusable rockets and the price of travel is going to be very cheap, and they're going to understand that Tesla makes solar panels. So they're going to put Tesla solar panels onto these floating data centers that are powered with sunlight. And the price of electricity is going to be very cheap, and they're going to deal with that. And all you have to do now is just pay them rent. And they're going to be taking data centers to space, and anyone else who has data centers terrestrially is going to lose, because your price for electricity, your price for land, and all of that is going to be much more expensive than what SpaceX is going to be able to do. This is very, 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 very interesting for you all to understand this. Because SpaceX is planning on doing this, I believe that terrestrial data centers are going to go out of business. So you have a lot of data center companies that they're either going to try to partner with SpaceX because they're not going to be able to compete, because the price of electricity is going to be so much more on Earth than what he's going to be able to get with SpaceX, with satellites, with solar panels powering these data centers. So if you understand this and you're able to project this into the future, this is why SpaceX is going to be probably the biggest stock in the next 5 years in the history of humanity. You're going to have your first trillionaire, Elon Musk. He's close to that already, but once SpaceX IPOs, he'll be worth probably 1.5 trillion. And then it's just going to increase because of what SpaceX is able to do around providing energy for data centers. That is the limiting factor, y'all. They're already making their own chips through Tesla and AI and the driving that they do, and they have a hive mind already. So if you all don't know about Tesla, why Tesla's been able to go forward faster than anyone with full self-driving vehicles, more than Waymo, whatever. First of all, instead of using LiDAR technology, they're using vision. That's just the way that you see the world is different. So they're using vision. And then what they did was this is very, very genius. They took everybody's full self-driving in the millions of Teslas that's on the road, and all the data from your full self-driving goes into one central place that's learning all of the millions of mistakes and the millions of turns and this and that into one central hive mind. So they're literally learning from 1 million drivers every day instead of one driver, right? All of it is centralized, because when you have a Tesla, if anything's wrong with your car, most of the things can be fixed with updates over the air. So you have some type of electrical issue, some type of whatever, because it's an electric vehicle. The updates are over the air. You don't even have to take it to a mechanic. They fix it over the air. So what has happened is that Tesla has designed AI chips, because they've been doing it with the full self-driving and also these large language models of learning. They've done it through their AI chips. So not only are they going to be able to control data center space and data center energy at a lower price, they also make chips better than NVIDIA for certain purposes. You should listen to the CEO of NVIDIA talk about what Tesla's been able to do with chips. So once you understand this, And the reason why Elon Musk is outperforming all of these people is because he uses first principles thinking. And this is very important for you all to like understand that like first principles thinking allows you to outperform everyone else who doesn't use it. And this is why he's outpacing everyone else. In anything that he touches, it becomes more advanced than what other people are doing because he uses first principles thinking. A lot of people haven't grasped it yet. Someone asked, the big questions are how do we buy shares of SpaceX on the day of IPO? You could do it on Robinhood. On June 12th, you'll be able to buy SpaceX shares on Robinhood, directly on Robinhood, just like you buy, just like you purchase anything on Robinhood. So you literally would buy the stock then. But like I said, on the IPO day, I won't be buying. I'll be waiting 6 months because of that lockout period when the price usually drops after 6 months because there's a lot of selling pressure because people will be selling during that time. So this is what you could do. And this is the strategy. If you just want to be wealthy slowly, what you do is this. Every week or every month, you take a portion of your income and you automatically just buy SpaceX. It's called dollar cost averaging. And you just do it automatically. I don't care if it's $10 every month, $20 every month. What you do is you can actually set a program. You can set it on Robinhood where you just automatically buy stock for you. You don't even have to look at it again. It's connected to your bank account. It'll take the $10 out and buy the stock. Whatever stock you direct it to buy, it'll do it. $20, $100 a month. And what happens is over a period of 5-10 years, you would have accumulated SpaceX stock. This is what wealthy folks have done with big companies. I'll tell you the story. I think I told someone else the story. I was hanging out on the beach several years ago. And because I'm self-employed, I could hang out on the beach on weekdays, right? The people you meet at the beach on weekdays are 2 sets of people. Well, you meet 3 sets of people on the beach. Now let's just call it 4. Okay. So this is beach life for y'all. And it's very important because you get to meet some very interesting people. 1, you meet vagabonds, right? People who don't have a job. They're just hanging out at the beach, but they're in poverty, but they're just at the beach and they're doing whatever. Some of them are addicted to drugs, some of them, whatever. So that's that group of people. The other group of people is the tourists. So this is someone who's on vacation. And I'm talking about like on a Monday, Tuesday, like today, like Wednesday at 10 o'clock at the beach. There's a certain type of person that you meet at the beach on a Wednesday. That's not a holiday. That's a work day at 10 a.m. It's very important you meet these types of people. So that's the vagabonds. Number 2 is the tourist, someone who's in town for a vacation. They've gotten a week or 2 off of work and they decided to come to sunny, place in the Caribbean where you're at, or, as I used to live in the Caribbean. So you would meet these people. Or if you're in Florida or wherever you are at the beach, you'll find the tourists. Number 3, then you'll find the locals. And it might be someone who just lives locally and, it's their day off of work or something, or the person's a housewife or something that they're just at the beach catching some sun before, they start their day or whatever. So that's a local person, like someone who just like lives near the beach. Okay. But usually you don't see a lot of them at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday because they're at work. But you'll meet them every now and then. And then the 4th type of person is the person who you're most interested in, and that's the person who's in control of their time. That person owns their time. So they can go to the beach, during the day, unless it's someone who works the night shift, right? But that's very rare. Most people who work the night shift are sleeping during the day, right? But that person is the type of person you want to talk to. And you'll see them. They're very comfortable. They're laid back. They're, having fun on the beach, and you start talking to him. So I start talking to him, and I used to go to the beach with my guitar. So the guy came up to me. It was like, oh, what type of guitar is that? And he starts playing guitar. It's this old white guy. We get to talking. And, he asked me what I do for a living. I told him, I own these businesses and I do this and that. And this guy tells me, yeah, he owns a couple businesses, but he's never worked before. And we get to talking. I'm like, oh, you've never worked before? He said, no, I've never had a job before. We get to talking. And you'll be surprised what wealthy people will share with you once they feel comfortable with you, especially if they think that you can speak well and, you're someone who can carry a conversation with them. Then they open up to you. So when I told him, I own businesses and, some of my background, he was ready to talk. Okay. He tells me he's never worked because his grandfather owned millions of shares in Coca-Cola from the 1950s. And his grandfather had two sons, his father and his uncle. And when he died, they inherited his Coca-Cola shares. So I think they inherited 10 million shares apiece. Okay? Because what the grandfather did was dollar cost average. He just, every paycheck, he would buy $50 worth of Coca-Cola shares. And he did this for 60 years. I want y'all to listen carefully to what I'm saying. He did it for like 60 years. So grandpa dies, he gives all the shares to his children, to his two sons, of which is this guy's father, 10 million shares. The guy's father continues the same tradition of buying Coca-Cola shares. Nothing else, just Coca-Cola shares. His father has 3 kids. This guy who I'm talking to on the beach and 2 of his siblings. At the end of it all, the siblings each get about, I think, 8 million shares each of Coca-Cola. So this guy inherited 8 million shares of Coca-Cola. Question is, what is the price of Coca-Cola today? This guy has 8 million shares of Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola right now, let me just tell you the price for Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is KOHIJ. I'm gonna have to tell you all. So I'm not seeing it. Coca-Cola used to be on this list. That's interesting. Oh, here it is. Okay. Coca-Cola today is at $81.89. So I'm going to do the math again. It's very important. We go into the calculator. Always important to go to the calculator. Let's go share screen. We're going to go entire screen. Let's go. The guy had 8 million. So he told me he had 8 million shares of Coca-Cola. That's what he inherited. So we're going to do 8 million times $89. This is what he's sitting on. $712 million. He didn't tell me he was sitting on 712, but he told me he inherited 8 million shares of Coca-Cola. And this is from his grandfather and father continuously buying Coca-Cola shares. So hold on. We go back here. This is the number, y'all. And this is over 60 years. So that's what I was saying, that like buying stocks, it's about getting rich slowly and not, getting rich quickly, because, fast money comes with long problems. So this is very important for you all to see that. And this is the guy talking to me on the beach. Let me stop sharing that. We're talking about $712 million this guy was sitting on. So he's sitting on the beach talking to me. And guess what he's doing? He's buying Coca-Cola shares, because that's the tradition in their family. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because your strategy should be If you're not into trading and you're not into like the stuff that I do, which requires a certain amount of skill, what does not require skill is the dollar cost average SpaceX for the next 20 years. And then you give that stock as an inheritance to your children. This is what I'll be doing. I'm just telling you, like on the side. So I do my trading, I do my stock options and all that. But SpaceX is a generational stock, y'all. They're going to control the whole data center business for AI. AI needs data centers. AI cannot operate without data centers. And whatever opportunity that you can get a data center for cheap, with cheap energy, even if you have to rent out as a business model, that's what they're going to do. It's going to be much cheaper than having data centers on Earth. And whoever has the data centers in space with the solar panels, they're going to control the AI market in terms of what the AI market needs. It's like you control the roads that the cars drive on. You know, imagine that the cars are going to become a thing. So you become the builder of roads and you charge a toll on all the roads and you don't even get into the car business. I'm just going to build the roads for the cars and I'm going to charge a toll every 10 miles. You know how filthy rich you'll be? This is what SpaceX is going to be doing. They know that people are going to be doing AI. They know it's going to be all types of AI companies. They have their own AI company called Grok, XAI. So they're in it already. And they're just basically saying, hey, if you want data centers and you want it to run it, for cents on the dollar in terms of energy, you might want to think about signing up with SpaceX. And then also they have satellite internet that's going to put all of these fiber optic internet companies, it's going to go out of business. Because right now, when I go to Africa, I'm going with Starlink. Anytime I travel, now I'm going to be going with Starlink because Starlink is satellite in space. You don't have to worry about whether there's Wi-Fi or a modem or this and that, and wherever you go and whether the service is good or it's interrupted because it's from space and it can penetrate to even remote spots that you're not getting Wi-Fi or data. So they're going to take over, y'all. Like all the things in terms of the future, Elon Musk has really thought this out. And like, honestly speaking, like people call me all the time, say, HERU, I know you're so busy with X, Y, and Z. And I'm saying, listen, I'm not busy. Like to me, busy is what Elon Musk is doing. He's managing $5 trillion companies. I can't be busier than that. And to tell you the truth, like a lot of people impress what I've been able to do with my life, but I look at Elon Musk and I don't feel so good because he's outperforming me by, a factor of 1 million in terms of his productivity and what he's been able to do. So I'm not very impressed with what I've been able to do because I know what's out there. And if you are running track, you want to find out Usain Bolt's time, right? Because you want to be able to get the gold medal. And right now, in terms of business, in terms of technology, what Elon Musk has been doing is really second to none, and it needs to be studied. And I would tell people to study it. It's not just about making money with him. It's about studying his approach and being able to improve on it and being able to one day overtake what he's been able to do business-wise. Hello? Hello, can you hear me? So no, Starlink. It's Starlink, not Skynet, Starlink. So Starlink is associated with SpaceX. So it's like, if you want to get serious about this, you can do it at the IPO on June 12th. You can get it on Robinhood, but what you want to do is dollar cost average all the way through. Do that for a couple of years and you'll see that you have a nest egg and you don't touch it. You don't touch it. Now, let me tell you what wealthy people do. So you see this guy that I told you who has the Coca-Cola stock, 712. Well, we have a caller. Someone tapped in. Alexis, are you ready to go live, Alexis? No? Okay, so you're just tuning into the show. Okay. All right, I see you in the screen. I don't know if you have any questions. You can take off the camera if you want, but you look fine. If you want to, You look fine. You look fine. I can see you. No one else can see you though, because you're in the backstage. I don't know if you got any questions, Alexis. Something you want to say? I can add you to the stage real quick. Do you mind? You shy? All right, Alexis. If you got any questions, you can ask. People who want to call in and chop it up, you can. I put in the call in on my Facebook. But this is very important, y'all. SpaceX is a generational opportunity. And you're going to want to pace yourself to just dollar cost average into SpaceX, man. And just leave it at that. That's what I did with Tesla. So let me just tell you all what the wealthy people do. So wealthy people, so this guy who got $700 million worth of Coca-Cola from his grandfather, dollar cost averaging for 60 years, and his father doing it for another 30 years. And then, he's doing it because people still drink Coca-Cola. So what they do is they never sell their stock. They borrow against it. Why is this important? Because you never sell an appreciating asset if you absolutely don't have to, because it's going to keep appreciating in value. And if it's a stock, you never pay taxes on it until you sell it. You never pay taxes until you sell it. What does that mean? You can borrow against it. And when you borrow against it, it is tax-free money, because loans are not a form of income. Therefore, it is not taxable. So what wealthy people do is they will have $700 million worth of stock, and they say, I need to live on $1 million for this year or the next 2 or 3 years. And guess what they do? They go to Bank of America, the same bank that gives you 0.01% on your savings account. Well, what they didn't tell you is that all these major banks have a securities loan department. So you go to securities loans in your bank and you show them your portfolio and you show that you're sitting on $1 million or $700 million worth of Coca-Cola stock. They will loan you $1 million like that at 1% interest because it's secured. So you've gotten the money for 1%. What does 1% mean? 1% on $1 million is $10,000. Okay, let me just double check that math. $1 million times 0.01, $10,000. Yes. So now you owe the bank $1,010,000, right? So you've got time to pay that off. So let's just say that you want to pay that $1 million back in 2 years. Well, guess what happens in 2 years? What have I shown you with some of these stocks? A lot of them double within a year or two. So now imagine that let's say that you had $100 million. You borrowed $1 million of that, and you got to pay back $1,010,000. You know what people do? What wealthy people do? What they will do is they won't sell their stock. They'll wait the 2 years. When the $1,010,000 is due, they'll take out another loan to pay back the first loan. They'll take a loan out for $2 million and live off of that for the next 5 years or something, and pay that back with another loan. So they're paying back the original loan with another loan. But what's happening to the stock price? That $100 million that you had is now $200 million because you have a good stock portfolio and it doubled in the last 2 years. So now that $100 million is $2 million, but you didn't sell any of the stock. So it keeps growing while you're never chipping away at it. And all you're doing is taking loans out to pay back the original loan. And you do it till you die. And this is what wealthy people do. And so they live tax-free. This is why they pay very little taxes, is because they have assets. They don't have income. That's why a lot of CEOs will take a $10,000 paycheck, but they'll take $1 million worth of stock. They want that stock to build up in value and be taxed on the $10,000, which is very minimal. So that's what a CEO will do. That's what these people in corporations do. They take a very small paycheck as a form of income, and they will take compensation in the form of stocks so that you can't tax them. This is what happens, y'all. And this is what they're doing. This is what people do with their stock portfolios. They hold on to it and they hold on to it, and then they pass it down to their children, and then their children learn the technique and they pass it down to their children. We can do the same thing. These are with these particular stocks. Okay. And so once you pick a good stock and you know that it's the generational stock, like an Amazon or Google or Nvidia or Tesla or SpaceX or any of these stocks that you know are going to project in the future for the next 10 years and they're going to be dominant, you just dollar cost average and go to sleep. And before you know it, within a year, I remember I did this for Tesla, y'all. Like, I woke up one day and I saw my Tesla portfolio and I couldn't believe it. It was a lot of money. It was just me having the discipline. And same thing for Bitcoin. I was just dollar cost averaging. This is before I got into, trading per se. I was always doing Forex trading on the side, but nothing serious. But the point that I'm making is that for those of us who are risk averse in the sense of what stock options can do, you can make money very quickly, but you can also lose money. But if you pretty much don't want to lose money and you want to have an exponentially grown savings account with very little stress, and you don't have to watch the stock price every single day and all of that, you dollar cost average into a great company, right? Now, here's the thing. We're talking about SpaceX. We're talking about these other, companies to invest in. We will be talking about our own companies and how we invest in ourselves too, because there's different ways to make money. And we would be remiss to talk about investing in other people's companies and not setting up a situation where we can invest in ourselves too, because entrepreneurs in our community also need investors. I was able to do that with Herbal Results. And I'll just go through that right now, actually, okay? Because people have asked me to do that. So we're going to do that real quick. We've been on for an hour and a half. Probably, my subscribers on HERU Trades, I will be doing a stock option purchase today. So you will get an update at herutrades.com. Just tune into that after the show. I'll be doing some analysis and I'll be buying some stock option today. So you'll be getting notice of that. But I'm going to give you all a sense of what I have going on, because I've seen this, and I'd like to make the people who invest in Herbal Results as rich as Google made Jeff Bezos. So I'm going to share this with you all as to what we're doing at Herbal Results, because this is not just about investing in other people's companies, but this is something that we should all be doing for ourselves. So when you start a company, this is for all the entrepreneurs here listening. When you start a company, the goal is not to just have a company and say, I'm an entrepreneur and I have an LLC and blah, 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 Oh, and by the way, these are the Herbal Results t-shirts that you can get on the website. You can't see it good now because it's backwards, but it says, if sugar can burn a hole into your teeth, then imagine what it's doing to your soft internal organs, right? So I walk around with this shirt at the grocery store. People stop me. A couple people have stopped me and asked me about the shirt. Then they'll go to the website because I have a QR code on there. So you just take your phone and you go straight to the website. And just the other day, there was a woman who saw me with this and she asked me about it, and she told me she had diabetes. And I told her about insulin and sugar and all of that and how you can reverse your diabetes, and you can get some of the products like the olive leaf extract and the magnesium and the vitamin D. And literally the woman just sent me a text yesterday saying that she's off metformin, she's off her insulin and all of that, because she went to the website and she took the whole sugar burning a hole in your teeth seriously, and thinking about her internal organs and what she was doing to her body. So, the t-shirts become a point of conversation whenever I go out, or whoever wears it, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you all the investors page on Herbal Results, because I want to be clear to people that this is not just about investing in other people's companies. Investing is a way of looking at the world. And so if you have a private company that you know is doing some great things, you want to become an early investor and get that stock at pennies on the dollar, because when it IPOs, you know, the IPO, you start looking at dollars price, you know. So if you got, you know, a company for 2 cents per share, then it went public and it's at $20 per share, you just made a lot of money. You made, let's just do 2 cents. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you made 1,000x on your money if it went to $20 a share. That means that if you put $1,000 in the company at 2 cents a share, it went to $20, you've now got $1 million. That's how it works. Now, this is what we got going on at Herbal Results, y'all. So for years, people have been asking me to invest money for them. I've always refused. And then I've had people who wanted to buy out Herbal Results. I've gotten offers for people to buy the company once they started seeing the results we're getting in terms of reversing cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes. So I've had people literally come to me to buy the company. I've said no, because I have a legacy that I'm looking to pass down my company, you know, to my children. So this is what I want to do. So I have a child, I have a son, and I want to be able to pass this down to him without him ever having to fill out, you know, a resume. He has a job with Herbal Results. Okay, so when you go here, you go to investors. So what I did with Herbal Results is I have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and stage 5. We've already done stage 1. Some people listening are already investors with Herbal Results. We did it last year. We raised between $50,000 to $75,000. It was to, and I did a small amount of money to prove a point that we could be timely with it and be responsible. So what happened? We raised the money, and we had a Zoom meeting, and a lot of my past customers who, you know, reversed their illnesses and people who love what we're doing at Herbal Results came on there. We had about 110 interested investors at the Zoom meeting that we did last year. And we raised about $30,000 within the first hour. And then by the end of the week, we raised all the money we needed in the first round, and we closed the investments. And once we closed it, you know, a lot of people were contacting me to still invest, but it was closed, right? That's when you know you got something good going, when people are like literally begging you to invest in what you got going on. And what was the payback term was that within 6 months to a year, you get 10% interest. After 1 year, you get 20%. So it incentivizes me to pay back people before the 1 year is up. Okay, so before the 1 year was up, the minimum investment was $500. So people invested from $500 to $10,000. That was the highest level investment, was 10 grand. The lowest was $500. And what happened was that before the 1 year was up, I contacted all of my investors and told them we're ready to pay you back, plus your 10%. So if you invested 1,000, you got 1,100 back. But you also had the chance to elect to roll the money over into stage 2. So therefore, if you invested 1,000, you have 1,100 that's now attributed into stage 2. What is stage 2? So I'd say 98% of the people who invested in stage 1 elected to roll into stage 2. Okay, and they're even looking to put in more. Now, we haven't had our stage 2 meeting yet because of the war that happened. Because of the war that happened, I've been very kind of antsy about doing international travel, because what I'm looking at actually is building manufacturing facilities. And it makes sense to build it on the continent for many different reasons. And we had plans to build it in the USA. We have the US market, but we have a exploding Africa market right now, because I do a lot of work on the continent and I live on the continent part-time, have businesses on the continent, and our people on the continent are dying from cancer, high blood pressure, all of that. I've got America covered, the Caribbean covered. So I want to deal with Africa. And the problem is the price point of shipping goods made in America to Africa becomes very high for that economy because of the shipping costs. So the best thing to do is actually to do the manufacturing on the continent, where land is cheaper to grow the herbs that we need, and then also the facilities will be cheaper, and be able to get the products at a cheaper price point for a market of over 1 billion people. So what is the amount that we're looking for in stage 2? We're looking to raise $500,000 to $750,000, and this to put up a manufacturing facility. Originally, we were thinking about putting up in America, but it makes more sense to put it on the continent. Payback terms is 1 to 2 years. And this time we're going to pay you 20 to 30% interest on your principal. The minimum investment will be $1,000. So those people who've already invested $1,000 can roll that over into stage 2. And then they'll be looking at a 20% to 30% return. If I do it within 1 year, you get 20%. If I do it within 2 years, you get 30%. What we're going to do is just make all of our products ourselves so we don't have to hire manufacturing companies. That also allows us to make products for other people, because we can be the manufacturing company for other people who want to make products. So then once that's done, we do stage 3. Stage 3, we're raising $5 to $7.5 million. We're using this money to put up several manufacturing facilities, because we've been skilled in putting up one. We're going to put up a manufacturing facility in the United States, one in the Caribbean, most likely Barbados, West Africa, Ghana, Dar es Salaam for East Africa. That's where the main port is. In Southern Africa, we're looking at Botswana. Okay. And that minimum investment is $2,000. Okay. And all of this is debt financing, by the way. So what that means is that you won't be owning shares in the company. You basically would be giving the company a loan. And what did I say here? New investors will be able to provide funding, and preferred interest rates will be determined, right? So your return will be determined, and it'll be close to 20, 30% as well. Okay. So now we've got manufacturing facilities making all these products to solve people's health problems. We've got farms in stage 3 growing everything. So now we have a vertical integration. And we're looking for people to invest a minimum of $2,000, and we're going to raise $5 to $7.5 million. Stage 4. Okay. Stage 4 is very important, because we're going to be raising $50 to $75 million. And we never move to any of these stages until the previous stage is completed, which means the investors are paid off or they decide to roll over their money. Okay. Which we've done with stage 1. Stage 4, we're raising $50 to $75 million, because now we're going to put together hospitals, Herbal Results hospitals, and diagnostic centers. So we're going to be buying MRI equipment, PET scan equipment, all these equipments that we would need to test people's blood, to see your vitamin, mineral levels, and all of that. That location is to be determined, but it'll be a place where people can go and do medical tourism. We'll get state-of-the-art facilities to deal with health in a very serious way, where people are literally flying to China, flying to different places just to do cheaper surgeries or different diagnostics that are much cheaper than the United States. And so this facility will most likely be outside of the United States. So we understand the US government would try to control through the pharmaceutical companies what we're doing. So we want to be outside of that jurisdiction, because we don't want these people's hands on what we're trying to do. And it's thick in the United States when you're trying to cut off pharmaceutical money. Okay. So we're going to build a hospital. Maybe it's in the Caribbean, maybe it's on a continent, whatever, but it will be in a jurisdiction where we have a little bit more control. And this time, ownership equity will be offered. That means that you can buy stock in Herbal Results at stage 4. And the only people who will be able to buy stock are the people who are already in stage 1, 2, and 3 to some degree, right? So you had to be in stage 2 or 3 to get opportunity to buy stock in the company. Early investors get privileges. Okay, so the people who believed in herbal results at the beginning stages are the ones who are going to be the preferred investors for stage 4. So you don't want to wait to stage 4 because you won't get early investment shares. So ownership equity will be offered at stage 4 privately, and you get dividend payouts, right? So every year we look at the income that we've gotten and we take a certain percentage of that and pay the investors. And this is in perpetuity, okay? And then we're going to do an IPO. So imagine that you bought Herbal Results shares at 2 cents or 3 cents or 5 cents a share. Then we do an IPO. The IPO, we're looking to raise $500 to $750 million. That is for the purpose of building several Herbal Results hospitals and product manufacturing centers with a global footprint. Locations to be determined, ownership equity in the form of publicly owned stock. So now you'll be able to, we're going to list it with the New York Stock Exchange, the Kenya Stock Exchange, the Ghana Stock Exchange, stock exchanges in the Caribbean. We're going to do IPOs worldwide. And all stock owners who own private stock prior to the IPO will be positioned to be rewarded handsomely. So at this point, you take an IPO. Now, even if the IPO, the stock price goes to $20 and you got in at 5 cents, that's like a 400x. So this is what we're looking to do. Is there precedent for this? Yes, there's great precedent for this. I can go and show you all the IPO that Beyond Meat did. I can show you the IPO that Herbalife did, and their IPO came out with the initial owners, the initial investors making hundreds of millions of dollars just on IPO day. And let me see if I can show you all the information on that. And, you all want to talk about IPOs today. So I want to make sure that I'm giving you all real game when it comes to this IPO situation. I'll give you all a quick story. You remember Donald Trump was being sued last year or 2 years ago, and he had to raise like $1 billion. You know what he did? He did an IPO for a company that he owns called Truth Social, or he's an investor in and owns stock in. And when Truth Social went public, Donald Trump raised a couple $1 billion in a day. This is how wealthy people raise money. They do IPOs, y'all. You understand? You all were able to see the investor page. I think you all were able to see the investor page on Herbal Results. I hope it was being shared while I was talking. Can you tell me, was the Herbal Results investor page being shared while I was talking? Because I don't know if you all saw it. Can you just let me know in the chat? Did you all see the Herbal Results investor page? Yes. Alexis is saying yes. Okay. So that's what it is. And we'll be having a meeting. So I plan to go to Ghana. I'll be in England. So the update with Herbal Results is that we have a very serious offer for someone to be an exclusive distributor for all of Europe. They wanted to do England first. Now they're talking about all of Europe. So I'll be going to England to do some lectures and some business meetings to get the European distributor on point, which is going to be great for Herbal Results. And that's going to, represent a huge windfall for what we're doing. And they're looking at doing manufacturing facilities in Europe as well. So that's a conversation. But I think from England, it's easy to get to Africa. So when I do England, I'm probably going to go to Africa, probably Ghana and Kenya and Rwanda, Tanzania and Ethiopia. We'll see if I can squeeze all that in, but what it's going to be is going to be a fact-finding mission to find factory space. I already have the factory equipment like priced out and everything. So at that point, I'll be ready to have the stage 2 investor meeting after those travels to be able to find out what's what, so I can present to investors. This is the space we're looking at. This is the equipment. This is how much it's going to cost. This is what we're looking at in terms of the price points for products now and the profit margin. I mean, we may be able to make Herbal Results products so cheap in Africa, that we may be able to import herbal results products made in Africa into America and no longer use American manufacturing companies that are charging us, higher rates of money. And that way we employ Black folks. We can do the same thing in the States too. We're going to employ our own people, but it's going to be global. It's going to be worldwide. We are without borders. So we don't look at national borders. We look at opportunity. We look at places where we have our people, where we can employ our people, and our people can invest some way in what we're doing in reversing these illnesses. Those of you tuned in last week, we had prostate cancer reversal live and direct. He came on, Brother Quedjo, and he talked for about an hour and a half about his situation. You all can tune in to the Monday show. For those of you all know the ledge, you can go on Red Pill's Patreon. Red Pill, it's on your Patreon, the Monday show.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Monday y'all can go on Patreon.
It's on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying that me and you are gonna have to come back today to talk about the Miami event. 72 Claws is coming up. It is going to be monumental. So we definitely have to let the family know what they have in store. We have some good news, some new additions to the bill. And yeah, man, it's going to be powerful, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoy what you was hearing today with the brother talking about stocks and wealth, just wait till you hear, just wait till what's going to be delivered in this boot camp. We are going to empower you with the power of investment, with the power of how we could take IP to another level, with the information on how to literally build out a movie in modern day times, what the budget will look like, what the time will look like, how many people will be needed to make a feature film that could premiere inside of a big screen movie theater, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, in any one of the movie theaters, AMC's around the world and whatnot. We have everything that's needed, ladies and gentlemen. We've been making major moves. 72 Claws, and the clause is an acronym for kinetic knowledge, legacy and land, autonomy and AGI, wealth and wisdom, sovereignty and spirituality, coming to you 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, online only, ladies and gentlemen, online only, from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Intensive AI, wealth, and everything else. Look forward to seeing you in the building. Original Black God, HERU, OFORI, ATTA, Hit Sayu, Aku, Brother Red Pillar, 72 Claws. We're gonna drop the link in the chat. See y'all in the building. Shout out to all of my KT aliens. Thank you.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, please take some time and really flesh that out if you need to for the people, because this is going to be monumental. I mean, we're talking about investing in, some of the offshoots of AI, whether it be data centers or what have you. But in terms of being able to use AI for our benefit, I know that I've used AI to answer a legal case recently. Usually it would have taken me, and it was a legal case with a credit card company, right? It would have taken me probably a week of legal research to draft an answer to the lawsuit properly, but it literally took me 3 minutes using AI to do it. And this is monumental. So, I mean, when I was in law school, you should take time to do legal research, man. I stopped practicing law some time ago, but when I had to deal with this particular case with American Express, I was able to get all of the legal issues parsed out. I was able to show all the contradictions and where they went wrong in their legal theory and challenge them on certain things. And because when you answer a complaint to a lawsuit, if you don't exhaust all your answers, you waive a right to using them as a defense later on. And so you got to, throw in the kitchen sink with the answer, and the AI threw in the kitchen sink for me. And this is where how law is going to be practiced from now on. And if you don't know how to use these tools and someone else is using these tools, you're not going to be able to compete. So what I need people to understand, how important what Red Pill is doing with the 72 Claws, to just showing you how you can literally be functional and conversant using AI platforms for your benefit. And we're going to talk about filmmaking because we talked about that. And we're going to show you how you can make your own films with a very small budget that looks like $100 million budget. We are now able to compete with Hollywood and these people who want to tell our stories. We can tell our own stories, but we need to understand how to use the platforms, how to use the tool. So at the end of the day, we all want fire when we're cold, but we need the tools as to how we can make fire. So imagine if you're human beings and you have a set of human beings and one group knows how to make fire and the other group doesn't. What's going to happen? Right? So what Red Pill is showing you is he's showing you what are the tools necessary to be able to function in this new world that's coming. And if you don't learn how to function, you will get swept away. So Red Pill, I don't know if you have a flyer that you want to share with the audience, but this is a very important program that you're doing for the people this weekend. You have a flyer you want to share?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm going to share the actual Eventbrite link. Give me 1 second.
All right.
And
And
I
those
did see
people,
somebody saying something about Patreon and the video possibly being removed. Oh my goodness. Let me even go and check that out. That would be news to me. If that's speaking about the Patreon, our Patreon.
yeah, someone saying it was taken down for violations on Patreon. Violations of showing somebody who reversed their prostate cancer and can talk about it. That's really interesting. See, this is why, everything I'm saying, we have to have our own properties that we control. Patreon may be a little bit more lenient than YouTube, but at the end of the day, if they took it down, then just believe me, Red Pill is going to have another place where we can house this information for his listeners, because we have to get the information out to people.
Oh, yes.
So let me know if Monday's show is up on your Patreon. If not, we have alternatives. But it's important for everyone to watch Monday's show, particularly if you got a family member with cancer. Very important.
Mm-hmm.
And now you all are seeing the fight that we're up against. So, yeah, Red Pill's checking on that. Kimberly Nixon says it was taken down for violations. Yeah. Okay. So it's a violation to introduce you all to people who have reversed their cancer in a non-toxic way. So that's what they're telling you all. Because none of it was rumor or innuendo. It was actually someone who literally had cancer and then, didn't have cancer. And they did the herbal results protocol. So, it is what it is. Red Pill, are you able to confirm this down?
Not at the moment. Let me double check. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have the flyer for 72 Claws, feel free to post it so people can see it.
Okay. I'm going to just post the actual Eventbrite.
And just for people to know, we're not going to stop health results Mondays. We're not stopping it. We're going to keep doing it. And we just let people know, there will be places where you can see it. If you're used to seeing it on YouTube, start getting unused to that. I already have a place for my listeners to be able to see the show. And that's at herbalresults.net, the live broadcast. And if we have to move for the listeners for Know the Ledge, we're going to put it up on the Know the Ledge website.
Yes.
Know the Ledge University, and I'll work with Red Pill to be able to do that, so people go straight to the website. And if it's beyond a paywall, just like a Patreon paywall, we could do the same thing. But under no circumstance will we stop giving you all this information.
All right. Can I share? I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, you should be able to. You having a problem? You having a problem with your screen?
I was sharing the screen so I
Yeah,
could
I
share
don't.
the Eventbrite.
Yeah, I don't. I don't see it. I don't see your screen being shared. Okay, here we go. All right. So what we're seeing now is you're sharing, yeah, your whole screen. So we're just seeing the StreamYard. So whenever you take it to the Eventbrite, we'll be able to see it. So yeah, we're able to see your screen. Just bear with us a second, y'all. Okay, there we go. 72 Claws Miami Boot Camp. So people will not need to physically be in Miami, correct? This will be online. You there, Red Pill? Your mic is off. Your mic is muted. So as he scrolls to be able to give you all.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Pardon me.
Yes.
Yes, this will be online
Mhm.
for 72 Claws Miami. You will not have to be in Miami. You will be able to tap in online. We're going to be having an online boot camp. The graduates from the boot camp, we will be converging in Miami at the end of July. That is when we will be live in Miami at the end of July. We have a resort that we are partnering with. We also have packages that are available for our class students. We'll be able to be on the resort. We'll be able to, be together for about 3 days at the end of July. But right now, for all of the students, the beginning of our slash boot camp slash workshop will be online. Okay, that's where all of the information will be disseminated. That's where everything will be laid out. That's where the lessons will be for the 72 hours. And then as we graduate and we level, and then we basically get certified, we'll be meeting up in Miami live. Everybody who's a part of the clause, we call it the 72 clause, the 72 nobles, you'll basically have access, and you'll be accredited. So we
And the deliverable is learning how to make feature
yes.
films, correct? With
The
AI?
deliverable for this one, right? We have different
Mm-hmm.
every time we go to a different city, there's a different deliverable. So the
Mm-hmm.
deliverable in Miami, which was an acronym for money is a major issue, we're dealing with AI and entertainment, everything that covers entertainment all the way down from the legalities, the legal aspect of it, to our brother Original Black God, who will be teaching how we can basically make a feature film. Not only are we teaching about a feature film, we're starting a crowdfunding campaign for his specific feature film that we will be getting behind as a community. We want our brother Original Black God to be the first director in our community to have a feature film on a big screen inside of like an AMC or one of these major theaters. So we're going to announce the crowdfunding campaign, his movie that we'll be doing. We're going to be talking about branding. I'm bringing on a branding expert, my good brother Hitsayu Aku, who is what we call a branding architect or a branding sovereign architect. I'm going to let him speak real quick so he could break down what he's bringing to the table. And then we have a good brother who wrote a screenplay. He is a lawyer. He is a poet. He is an early investor and a potential executive producer. Our good brother HERU OFORI ATTA, who will be giving you all of the bare bones of what it is that you need to know about this business and how to prosper in this business, how you could literally take a simple idea that was free. You remember, you don't have to pay to think. You don't have to pay to have a thought. A free thought can turn into $1 billion product, right? But there's steps to doing it and there's steps to take, and there's actually a pipeline. This pipeline has now been automated, ladies and gentlemen. What does that mean? That means that the thought is not automated. The thought is yours. That's your intellectual property. But everything from the thought forth, the minute you have that thought, everything else is automated all the way up to the fact where farm to table or thought to prototype or thought to product, meaning that from the thought all the way up to the point where it's on a table or it's inside of a store, we have the capabilities of doing that for you right now, not later on, right now, today, in the world that we're living in. You could literally get up and do it on your own, as we, right now, with you by yourself or with a small team. So yeah, it's time. It's time to show and prove. It's time to bring the receipts out, and it's time to let people know that a future exists where they could be very powerful. Um, I got my brother right here, Hitsayu Aku, branding expert. I'm gonna let him talk to the family real quick so y'all can see what you have in store this strong end, ladies and gentlemen, from the comforts of your home, from the comforts of your car, off the phone, or when you get back to the recording, you'll be able to tap in because we are filming everything. We're recording it, so you'll be able to access it, in perpetuity. Here's the good brother Hitsayu Aku.
Live and direct from the mothership. This now could be on some other shit. Hitsuyowaku Sovereign Identity Architect at your service. This is one of those conversations that's really important because in this AI age, in this AI era, we need to get a grasp or some claws. You see what I'm saying? We need to get a good hold on what our identity is, where the real value is coming from. One of the things that I'm leaning into is making sure that your brand has the business structure that allows investors, these qualified investors, to come in and actually say, okay, I see where this IP is going. I see that you're about to be the next Uber, the next Airbnb. I can see the documentation. I can see the proof of work. I can see the proof of concept. Let's make sure that what this brand is and what this brand is building has the proper funding. All right, boom, here we go. So that's where I'm really coming in and making this conversation make sense for what I'm bringing toward the family in regards to how do we get to the actual money of the IP. We can say the IP is valuable all day, but is it really valuable if no one's willing to sign on to your initial public offering? You see what I'm saying? Like, again, these are the things we have to have real conversations about when we're talking about generational wealth, when we're talking about owning IP. Owning 100% of zero doesn't mean anything. Owning 1% of a billion is a different conversation. Yeah, it's just 1%, but it's of a billion. So again, how do we monetize the IP? How do we protect the IP? How do we structure the IP in the ways that allow us to be able to really go to market, really go to the traders, the investors, the stockholders, the hedge funds, and really get to the higher echelon of what value we actually bring to the table, right? Branding is all about framing the conversation around what you're doing so that way other people can see the value and invest in it. Everything, I've really been sitting here this whole time just listening to you cook up, HERU, and I promise you that was some of the cleanest, coldest, just most amazing work I've heard in a long time. For you to be delivering that high level knowledge in this very calm tone, you sound like one of those dudes that just has that good old fuck you money. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a level of, I can hear how well this has already worked out for you in the way you're dispelling the information. Oh yeah, Elon threw his $250,000 in there, 5,000 times X his money, came out with 1.2 billion. Casual, next subject. Like, this is just so regular for him. And again, when you're doing real branding, those types of numbers, those types of conversations in these very calm, relaxed tones should be your new operating normal. And that's what I want to bring to the table. How do we build those systems that normalize the conversations that Heru is having, so that way when you step into a conversation with Heru, don't nothing he even say surprise you. You come with something that might surprise him.
Right.
That's when we're really doing business. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm going to bring to the table, understanding those structures, the order behind how we, again, build up the systems that make us a trustworthy investment for generations to come. That's defining your business goals, your mission, we talked about first principles. Elon changed the entire goal and mission of space travel by going to the first principles and saying, what makes this so expensive? Oh, we can only use the rockets one time? Well, who the hell said that?
Right. Fix that bottleneck.
That's the system that makes SpaceX valuable. It's not.
That's the moat.
That's the moat. The system becomes the real value generator. My favorite example, Shell Gas Company, a brand we all know. They didn't start with selling gasoline. They started by shipping shells. That's literally what they did. They were a commodity service that shipped shells, but the hold that they had on their shipping distribution network was so good that it could be easily transitioned to oil, and they would make more money transitioning it to oil. That's what they did. It was never about what they were shipping. It was about the fact that the shipping system was so good that now you don't even know that Shell never started as a gas company,
Right.
as a energy company. You know them for what the investors saw value in based on the system. Oh, I like that system. Let's just ship oil. Oil's worth more. So it'll make this system more valuable. But the value's already there. The IP is already there. That's what I'm going to bring. Again, I'll be trying not to get too excited. I'll talk y'all ears off about this shit. I'll nerd out. Just listening to the way Heru has just sat down and dispelled all of this information to all of you casually. I really need y'all to understand. Watch this back. Watch this back. He just told you 50 different things that you need to know if you are serious about having a business that you can pass down to your grandchildren's grandchildren. If you want assets, wealth, real structured value that you can protect, maintain, defend, and transmit, transfer infrastructure, the critical or the reliable transportation of critical resources is infrastructure. If you want real income infrastructure, please, for the love of God, go back and listen to this again. Heru was kicking some of the hottest shit I've ever heard.
Right.
Thank you.
And this is just a teaser, because this strong and the conversations that we're going to be having, ladies and gentlemen, are going to be high level not just conversations, demonstrations. We're going to be putting on a masterclass of a 72-hour clause, ladies and gentlemen. This is serious. This is as serious as it gets. We will be putting everything together, and of course, we're going to sprinkle all of the information with the latest state-of-the-art technology. Anthropic Claude, right? 6 layers. It's 6 layers. The AI has 6 layers to it. It does coding, it does co-work, it has architecture, it has skills. It's like a Swiss Army knife. We're going to be talking about Hermes agent. We'll be talking about OpenClaw. We'll be talking about all of the agentic AI solutions that they have rolled out ever since we did the last 72 claws in North Carolina. So yeah, man. And then after that, we'll be doing Houston, June the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th with our good brother Pop Darby, Mansa Muhammad, Talik Heru, Spin City. And I just got word from Spin City that he will be with us this weekend in Miami for the 72 claws. Like I said, this one is live stream only. We will be at a private location, live stream only for our KT aliens and our claw students, with the follow-up of the live. We'll be at a resort in Miami. We'll be at a resort in Miami at the end of, we're going to figure out the end of June or maybe early July and whatnot, so we could bring our students together, our graduates, what we call our 72 nobles, and really do it live and whatnot. But for right now, we're going to be doing it online only, live stream. The one in Houston will be live though. That is an IRL event. The Miami one is private. But HERU is our featured speaker. He will be, I believe he'll be on for the Saturday, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's gonna be our stream. He'll have his portion, and then he'll be back as well for a few hours on the last day to wrap things up as we have a panel. But we're gonna be laying things out for y'all step by step. This is high level solutions. Thank you all. The link is in the bio. We will see you. And we are serious about our upward mobility. I want to thank you for walking us through these steps, brother HERU, making us more confident by just, I would say you exhibit in so many ways what I call the calm system, not the nervous system, but the calm system, something that we should all attribute to get towards, because a man or a woman is very calm when things are going good for them. When they got their shit together, they don't have nervous issues. They're not nervous about things. They don't have anxiety about what the news is talking about. They don't have anxiety because they're on this Maslow's pyramid, the hierarchy of needs. They're not at the bottom of it. They have what is known as self-actualization. And when you self-actualize, you're calm. You can't fake calmness. You feel me? That is something that you can't necessarily fake. The authenticity of being calm is something that comes from your system. You know what I mean? So, it's not just an exercise in breathing. It's an exercise in lifestyle. You know what I mean? So this is something that we are pulling up to attribute. We want to get there, my brother. So that's what the 72 clause is built around. The acronym, once again, clause with a K, ladies and gentlemen, because we're heavy on a K over here. Kinetic knowledge, being able to do things. Kinetic knowledge, no more speculation. Kinetic knowledge, like what Blue Pill is doing with the farming. They're growing the microgreens. They have the bees and whatnot. They're doing the honey. This is not speculation. The bees don't decide one day, you know what? We're gonna just drink a beer, man. We out here. No, the greens are growing. The bees are making honey. It's kinetic, right? What the good brother is doing with the stocks and whatnot, it is kinetic, because if you get up there playing, you're gonna lose your lunch money. You feel me? You're gonna look. You can't brag. You can't show results. You can't have a calm system. You're gonna have a nervous system. So, kinetic knowledge, legacy, and land. If we're not turning this thing into land, if we're not building out for our legacy, if we're not creating IP for our legacy, if we're not passing on stock portfolios to our children's children, what are we doing? And why are we doing it? Right? Autonomy and AGI. Autonomy, being able to move around when we want. Autonomy, being autonomous. AGI, having the AI work for us. Agentic AI, not just regular chatbots, but agentic AI, autonomous AI, AGI, artificial general intelligence. That's what we're thriving for, right? But not in fear, but in power, wealth, and wisdom. Look at what's going on with Floyd Mayweather. A fool and his money will soon part. You need wealth, but you also need wisdom to go with it. All right. It's one thing to get the money, it's another thing to keep it. Okay. And then you have strategy, you have sovereignty and spirituality. So we are moving every day. We strive towards sovereignty, but also every day we are on a spiritual journey. And there's nothing like ancestral intelligence. This whole demonstration is not powered by artificial intelligence. It's powered by ancestral intelligence. That's why we stand over and we're able to overstand artificial intelligence. It works for us. It works for us. 72 clause we'll see you in Miami, and then 2 weeks later, we'll see you in Houston, and we're gonna keep building this thing up. 72 locations, 72 nobles, 72 tokens, 72 tools, 72 claws. Love and light to the family. We'll
Yes,
see you on Friday.
Yep. And so, just for clarification for people, for the first step, people who want to sign up for the program this weekend, where are they going to go? Yeah, Red Pill.
Yes.
Just for
Event.
clarification, just
Yes,
step
just
by
for
step.
yes,
Yeah.
clarification purposes. Eventbrite will be this will be where you get your link. I just put it in the chat.
Will they be able to see the information for the link on your website, the Know the Ledge website?
Yes, it's on ktl.university.com.
Okay.
ktl.university.com is our official website, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and you all need to get familiar with that. Get
Yeah, I
very
have to
familiar
get
with
very
it.
familiar, right? KTL University is our home. That's where everything lives. Is Cyber Library. We have all of our workshops, lectures, and free master classes up there. We also have podcasts, and we also have our merch and things of that, digital products. They live on KTL University. Know the Ledge. And yes, the information is there. When we broadcast from Zoom, ladies and gentlemen. So you will be sent a link, and we will be broadcasting from Zoom. Our teachers and our special guests, they also will appear on Zoom. Um, just beaming in from wherever they are, right? We have a studio audience, but we also have an online audience. So yes, that's what we'll be doing on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We will be on Zoom, ladies and gentlemen. That way we could share our screen. That way, because think about it, with Original Black God and with Brother HERU, with I'm showing and whatnot, we have to be able to do this, show the screen so you can hear things and you can see things, and it's not noisy and you don't hear any chatter in the background. We want to just lock in. The reason why it's called a boot camp is because when you're on your phone, when you're on social media, it's all of the noise, no signal. We want to cut out the noise and we want to do signal only. We want you to lock in. So when you lock in for 72 hours, the deliverables is that you're going to walk away with the power. You're going to walk away with the knowledge. You're going to walk away with the skill set to complete whatever it is that you have set forth. I don't care if it's a project from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or something that you thought about 2 minutes ago. There is a way to do it now. There's steps that you can take. There's patterns, and there's quote unquote provable use cases to how you could win in these markets right now. Any niche that you can think of, we could show you how to boss up utilizing the triple AI, and also utilizing the Imaginarium, and also utilizing the Facts Initiative, the food, the art, the clothes, the technology, and the shelter. But the food, the art, the clothes, and the technology, and the shelter has upgraded in 2026 to the food, the art, the clothes, travel, and shelter. So that big announcement is going to be coming up. We have successfully opened up travel and shelter. So we have a huge life-changing deal for our network. So where we're going to reduce the cost of travel for y'all, and we're going to reduce the cost and enhance shelter, where you could be living on resorts and you'll be able to live in places that that just look very good for a very good price. So we'll be making that big announcement very soon, maybe even during the 72 Clause event. And we have special guests that are not announced, but the special guests that we do have for the Strong End, we just got word for Spin City coming on board. So we got Spin City for this weekend. We have Hit Sayu Aku for this weekend, or the Strong End. We have the good brother that you see right here, HERU OFORI ATTA, in the building. We have the #1 content AI content creator, Original Black God. He's in the building. He's gonna be showing us how to make movies, AI movies. He's gonna walk us through. Matter of fact, he's gonna be making a movie or making a short film, and everybody will be able to follow him step by step and learn how to do it on their own. And then, of course, Brother Red Pill, myself, I'm going to be dropping a ton of information dealing with the Imaginarium, the fantasy complex industry, how we could turn IP into APs and whatnot. So, yeah.
Excellent. So we have here, Brother Red Pill, is I'm on KTL University. Just let people know, if you put in ktlusuniversity.com, there's going to be a problem with accessing the site. You have to put www.ktlusuniversity.com, and then the website comes up with no problem. So just remember to put www.ktlusuniversity first.
Can you do me I'm sorry. Can you do me a solid, HERU?
Yeah.
I dropped the Eventbrite in the private chat. Can you drop that in Facebook by any chance? Because I'm not.
I can drop it on my Facebook.
Okay,
you
let
know
me
what?
get in my Facebook.
If you can do this, yeah, you could drop it on your Facebook. Big up to Odenoho Cody Marty, direct from Ghana. This is the brother who makes all of my clothes that I wear whenever I do lectures and I go out for important events. I'm wearing Odenoho clothing. Direct from the continent. So what we might do, Adenoho, is maybe next week you want to come on the show and talk about your business that you do and the clothes that you make. I'll be wearing Adenoho next week if you come on, and the people could see the great work that you do. I've been to his house in Ghana. You go to the brother's house, he has a factory going on. He's got people working, sewing and tailoring and making clothing directly from the continent, man. I wear it everywhere I go. People ask me, where I get my clothes from, and I tell them it's an Adenoho special. So even when I'm in Ghana, I got to take people directly to his house because people want to meet him. So the brother just tapped into the show.
Beautiful.
Bless up Adenoho, man. Next week, come on the show. Let's talk about wealth. Let's talk about wealth on the show. Business development on the continent, and this brother is directly in Ghana doing great work, makes the best clothes that I've ever worn. So be happy to expose his business to this audience, man. He ships worldwide. When I was living in the Virgin Islands, he would ship by DHL to Ghana all the clothes that I would order, and that's the type of drip that I had on whenever I would do lectures or go out. I'd be wearing the Adenoho stylistic clothes, man. Yes. Now, when we get back to your website, and this is what I want the listeners to understand, that it's not going to be like where you're going to catch Red Pill on YouTube all the time. Because when he gets to the point where he's saying some things that the system doesn't like, YouTube is going to restrict him, just like what's going on with the Healthy Monday show. Everyone who is a fan of Red Pill and the work that he does, please put www.ktlusuniversity.com in your bookmarks. Just bookmark it so that you have it there. When you go there, you're able to see, is what I'm sharing right now, the different workshops. And the brother has been busy, and I'm watching this and I'm smiling because I didn't know Red Pill was on it like that. I mean, he's got all these classes, man, that he's put together for people. And it goes all the way down. Like when you get on the homepage, you see crypto workshops, AI accelerated workshops, income stream workshops. I mean, he has it all here for people, great resources. What I don't see is the Miami workshop on here, and I would suspect that he's going to put the workshop on there sometime today. But I would say for people, Red Pill, when do you think you'll have the workshop link on your website? For
that'll
Miami.
be in about an hour.
Okay.
I just got to tell my team to update it.
Yep. This is what I would like the listeners to do, just to make it easy, because some of these links are not active links that we're putting. Just go to the website, www.ktlusuniversity.com, and on there in the next hour or two, you will see something, a flyer. This is for North Carolina that he just did, but you'll see Miami. You just click that, and then you'll register there, and that'll be easy. When will the whole thing be starting, Brother Red Pill? Friday at what time, or Saturday at what time?
It starts Friday at noon.
Friday at
12
noon is
p.m.
when.
Yep.
Yep, Friday at noon is when the whole program is starting, y'all. And then on Saturday, what time does it start?
All the noon.
Noon.
So I
So
say
all the
noon,
days are
and then
noon. Okay.
Sunday is from noon to 4 p.m.
Okay. And some Friday is noon to what?
Noon to 8.
Noon to 8. And
So
Saturday
yes, we
is
have a
noon to
noon to
what?
8, noon to 8 as well.
Okay. And this
And
is
then
Eastern Standard Time,
these are
y'all.
Eastern Standard Time. Yes, Eastern Standard Time. Sunday is from noon to 4. We have the itinerary will be available on today's Wednesday, correct?
Yes, today's
Yeah,
Wednesday.
today. Yep, the itinerary should be available later today, and we'll be putting it on the Eventbrite, and also when we update KTL University, it'll be up there as well with the thumbnails, the flyers, and the posters. So 12 to 8 p.m. You, if you are tied up and you have things that you're doing, if you're at work, fret not, don't worry. Everything will be recorded. There will be access to the recording on KTL University. You will have access to it in perpetuity. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're not there for the live boot camp, when it's taking place, when you get off of work, or when you do have time, you'll be able to replay it. Okay, video on demand.
Okay, great. So yeah, this is perfect, man. This is great. That's housekeeping. We've been on for 2.5 hours. Those of you all who are subscribers on HERUtrades.com, I will be making a stock option play sometime today. So you should be getting a notification. If you don't, just log in to your login on HERUtrades.com, and you will see the stock option that I bought today. And next week we'll go over some of those trades as well. Everyone should be doing well with their trades. Oil went down a little bit, but we suspect that it'll just keep going up as the future buys on this war. We know that it's going to keep going on, so it means the price of oil is going to keep going up. Okay. People put in the link for your email right there. The Mark 125th at gmail.com if you want to get in touch with Red Pill. Okay, he put it on his Facebook and he put it on the YouTube as well. So those of y'all who want to get in touch with Red Pill, that's what it is. Someone said which company. I'll let you guys know when I make the post. I'm doing some analysis once I get off of this call. And I'm looking at Microsoft. I'm looking at a couple other ones to get some more options on. But I'll let you all know. I'll let you know the expiration date, the call price, and all of that on the option. That's for my subscribers. So just keep in tune. For those who are on HERUtrades.com, there will be a trade made this afternoon, and you all will get access to it. And then we'll keep printing money, y'all. So thanks for tuning in. This weekend should be a great weekend. I will be presenting, but more importantly, I will be a student because I want to learn about this AI filmmaking. And we'll report back to you all next Wednesday at wealth results. But Monday we'll be back with health results Monday. I think we'll probably have another cancer reversal testimonial. Someone will call in who's a former customer of mine who went through the protocol and got reversal. So if it's not cancer, it'll be high blood pressure reversal, diabetes reversal, some type of major illness reversal. We'll have a call in next Monday, and we're going to just keep doing this and keep doing it and keep doing it till people get the point to understand that this is very serious what we're doing. And then next week we'll go over what we did this weekend at Open Clause, and probably will show some video that was done in terms of AI video for film to show you all how you can become filmmakers, because it's something that I'll be doing with my own films. And I'm just excited to meet brothers and sisters who are moving and shaking and getting that kinetic knowledge into form, man, because at the end of the day, it's about productivity, man. It's about productivity. People are measured by their productive habits. And at the end of the day, you can claim yourself to be this or that. But what you really are is you're a collection of all of your habits, good and bad. That's what you are. So whatever you habitually do, good and bad, that's who you are. So we want to get into the habit of productivity. And so this is going to be a very interesting weekend for me, because I've been looking at researching AI models for video. And so to be able to sit down and streamline this with someone who already has the knowledge and experience doing this is going to accelerate my productivity. So I look forward to it. I hope to see you all there on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll be tuned in. We'll be taking notes, and we'll be coming out with product. So what you can expect next week is you're going to see video, AI video of film making that came out of this workshop. And I might even be, because I have my whole script and screenplay, I might be able to run that through and maybe even have a scene for y'all ready by next week. So we'll see what's going to happen. It should be very exciting. And we'll get back to the stock market. We'll get back to stock options and Forex trading and all of that. It will show and prove and show you all how some of these trades are doing as like we always do. So thank you all for tuning in. Red Pill, please have the last word with, letting people know about this weekend. We're going to start at noon on Friday, and they need to go to your website. So please close us out, Red Pill.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you all should be very, very enthusiastic, and you should be excited, because in a few days on Friday, you're going to experience something that you never experienced before. We are going to have our good brother HERU on a new frequency, all right? A creative frequency, not just a creative frequency, an abundance creative frequency. Not just an abundance creative frequency, but a frequency that's surrounded by abundance and confidence, right? I could create a movie confidently knowing that this brother is an executive producer, that his money and his energy and his confidence is banking and backing what it is that we're doing and whatnot. We've waited for days like this. We've waited for opportunities like this. The brother that I'm bringing to y'all, Original Black God, I highly suggest that you go on and research him right now on the internet and see his work, see the quality, see how he's taken consciousness, the master teachers, the lessons and whatnot, and how he infuses it into AI filmmaking. One of his most quote unquote viral videos is when he was basically sending the Caucasians back to the Caucasus Mountains. It was almost like cosmic slop, you know what I mean? But it's Neanderthal slop. So he's doing monumental things, and we are going to benefit from being his earliest investors, getting equity in what it is that he's doing and whatnot. And we're going to show everybody in the audience how we could be smart investors. Okay, we could be early investors. All right, we're going to show you irrefutable proof on what's going on in multiple markets with the AI generated videos, AI generated film, AI generated music, right? AI generated intellectual property. Okay, so we have a brother that is very steeped in legality and legal systems, like our brother HERU. We're also going to show him how the AI has been automated with Claude, Anthropic's Claude. They have these legal plugins and whatnot. So everybody's going to be learning. Everybody's going to be earning. Everybody's going to be earning their potential in the next 72 hours during the 72 hours clause. Then we got the good brother Hitsayu Aku. You heard him earlier. He's going to bring a whole layer of science and applicable science, his kinetic knowledge and whatnot. We're literally here right now building out tools, building out applications and whatnot. We'll be rolling out some of the things that we're bringing to the family. So this is going to be a very powerful boot camp to kick off the summer. Ladies and gentlemen, summer camp has begun. Summer school has begun. Summer 2026 has begun, and we starting it off with a bang. This is a seafood boil for billionaires. 72 claws, Miami's. Money is a major issue. Lock in with us, clock in with us, and then you can rock out with us. Peace, love, and light. Let's go. I'm enthusiastic. I can't wait to roll out what we've been cooking up, y'all. Y'all can't. Y'all gonna see. But yeah, we cooking.
All right, y'all. Peace.